It was a dark and stormy night, nor'easter rolling in. It's a long 12 hours, the power's out again. I pray for inner strength and that we don't lose no lives. Just another day in the first responders' eyes. Half a cup of coffee's gone, the first run comes in. A car slid off the road, there's a family trapped within. My heart beats like a hammer, I can barely catch my breath. I'm thinking the worst and hoping for the best. Yeah, we ain't superheroes, we're just ordinary people trying to make a difference, and the first on every scene. It's a heavy, heavy burden to carry all this burden when you can't unsee the things you've seen. It keeps going on. When those sirens are gone, and now my shift is finally over.
All right, welcome to the award-winning Mad Radio Show with John and Sam, your first responder network into healing and post-traumatic stress relief. I want to welcome everybody. Sam, thank you so much. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. You know, it's been a crazy week. You and I got an opportunity to connect a little bit earlier. And, you know, I got to tell you that I'm starting to feel like first responders have targets on their backs. Actually, targets on their fronts. Targets everywhere. Every day we are waking up to another line of duty death. And although our show is mostly focused on healing and overcoming post-traumatic stress and dealing with stress in general, depression, anxiety, everything that goes along with the job, we can't not talk about this epidemic of death in our first responder community. And I think it was all the pictures from Trooper Walker, our DPS, so right here close to home, Texas Department of Public Safety. Trooper Walker lost his battle, and he was viciously gunned down in what looks right now preliminarily, so they finished the investigation, as he was kind of lured into this shooting situation and lost his life. And the pictures of him and his family, his kids, I mean, it rips your heart out. And the Boulder police officer who responded, again, these are things that, John, you and I would do even though we're off the job now, because it's trained into us. So we still run to the gunfire. We're not running away. You know, jokingly, I say, if I'm running away from, you need to like run where I'm running. Sam doesn't run. So there's something going down. But you know, he had 7 kids, and it's crazy. So I you know, thank you all for joining in week after week. It's exciting stuff that we talk about, but a lot of what we talk about is born from tragedy. Tonight is no different, and we just appreciate every week your all's support. The comment stream is open as we do this live show. I have a comment stream that I'm monitoring here, so at any time as you're listening, please feel free to post a comment, even if it's just to say hey. So hey, Megan.
Right. You know, Sam, you bring up such a good point with our law enforcement being targeted and with targets on their back. And, you know, not to get political or anything else too much, but, you know, it's our current administration that has held people non-accountable for their actions. So people feel that they can violate a police officer's space. They can injure a police officer without any without any justice. Excuse me. And you know, it's just getting worse and worse. And I was on the phone today with Margaret Marcinello. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce her last name. But her husband was tragically killed back in 1998 in the 6-7 precinct. I'm wearing his shirt actually. Anthony Marcinello was shot during a takedown of a parole violator, and once again we see that bail reform and non-accountability for these criminals are affecting our law-abiding citizens, and you know, hard to say that it's killing our police officers. And we've seen this more and more. I mean, in my time when I was on the job, you know, we had police shootings, you know, but now it's gotten to a point where police shootings and assaults have just skyrocketed. And we forget that the families that are behind these police officers who care and love, that are left behind. And until something's done, you know, I see an increase is just going to, you know, keep going.
Yeah, and we can't forget that every time that we lose an officer, line of duty death, it affects not only the family but the department as a family,
the nation.
Yeah, and what we're seeing is the downward spiral, the lack of support, the continued not being able to trust, whether it's the mayor or higher up city council, to make the decisions that are going to protect our officers should they need to use force. And so you don't trust the community, you don't trust your higher ups, and to walk around in a hypervigilant state, you and I know, it eventually takes its toll. And if there's no outlet for the stress, that's when we start seeing what you and I deal with, and Jeff and John with a badge of honor is, hey, we're now treading into, we need to look at the mental wellness and the brain health aspect of our departments. And anybody that says it's separate, no, that's, you've either never carried a hose or a gun, or you haven't been in that space. Right. Because that's like, it's akin to, you know, medicine, if you will. So you have a cardiologist for your heart, you've got, you know, your neurologist for your head, you've got your bone docs, you're this doc, you're that doc, but really we're one entire body of all connected tissue. You know, you don't take your head off. Although sometimes we wish we could.
We wish we could.
Yeah. And so you have to look at and examine this holistically from the whole person picture. And you know, our guest tonight, Maria Barreda-Alvarado, she is no stranger to this tragedy that we're talking about, and born out of the tragedy is the Peace Officers Angel Foundation. And just briefly about Maria, she grew up in Arlington, Texas. She's married to Phil. Hey, Phil. Phil Alvarado. She has 3 children and 6 grandchildren. Her youngest son, Michael, served in the U.S. Army in the Iraq War. Her oldest son, Corporal Rick Barreda, was killed in the line of duty while serving as a motor officer at DFW Airport on February 14th, 1997. Her daughter, Christina Reynoso, is a graduate from St. Edward's University and works for the U.S. Postal Service. Volunteering with nonprofit organizations caught Maria's eye early on, and so she worked, learned, and shared experiences that she was going through with others, and has been giving of herself, volunteering for over 40 years. She's the past president of COPS, Concerns of Police Survivors, and she is the founder and president of the Peace Officers Angel Foundation. Maria, welcome to Mad Radio.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here to be able to share Peace Officers Angels Foundation with you.
Oh.
Yeah, you know, we've known each other for a bunch of years now. It's been a while since we've last seen each other. I think it was at the was it Shannon Brewing Company, where you had
Yeah.
an incredible fundraiser. Hats off! You're 40 years in this business. Definitely shows. I mean, just A plus. We had a phenomenal time, and more than just being that social and fundraising aspect, we were able to, and I say we, meaning me and John, to meet retired police officers, current police officers, really engage in conversation, wives, brothers, sons, daughters, and it was really gratifying. We came away from there just with a warm feeling in our heart. And if you wouldn't mind just telling our listeners, just take us through, what happened with your son and how the organization came about.
Well, on Valentine's Day, '97, my son was, he was a motor officer, SWAT, and he was in pursuit of a speeding motorist. And both lanes were occupied. There was someone that was on the phone. And so he hit the back of the shuttle van and severed his brainstem and died instantly. And he was very instrumental in making some changes at DFW Airport, and he loved his work. That was his passion. He had always wanted to work in law enforcement and actually fire also. And at the time he was hired, DFW Airport, it was fire and police, so he got to do both.
Nice.
Maria, I know on Sam's part too, our hearts do go out to you and your family, feel your loss. But this brings into, you bring up a good point when we in the beginning of the show, when we talked about a lot of law enforcement who were being ambushed and shot in the line of duty. We forget that the job entails so much more than, those violent actions with criminals. When we talk about car accidents, speeding motorists and police officers that are severely injured on the job due to just the line of work that they have to do and perform every day. These officers are getting injured every single day that you don't hear about. You don't hear about the officers being struck by autos. You don't hear about the officers who rolled down a stair trying to, looking for a missing child, or fell off a rooftop looking for a missing child. These are the dangers of the job. And, sometimes we fail to see that in our communities. We only hear the blood and guts of it. We don't hear the the life-saving efforts that go in on a daily basis. And chasing a speeding car is one of those things that we don't hear too much about, but it's one of those top 5 that take our officers' lives every day.
That's true. That's true. And like we said, the law enforcement that we work with, they introduce us to each other. However, the tragedies with their injuries bond us forever. And we stay in touch with our officers that we assist. We hear all their stories. We hear the stories of their families. And, we tell everyone an officer is an officer regardless of what department, whether it's a large department or a small rural area. They're all law enforcement fighting good against evil.
Yeah. How long was it until you established the Peace Officers Angels Foundation?
Well, I worked with cops. Like I said, I helped families of fallen officers for 15 years. So I started POAF in 2013, 2014 was when we were established.
And what made you, you got your feet wet in the nonprofit arena with cops, and it's a phenomenal organization. What you guys do there is fantastic, because we can't forget about the families. What made you say, no, it's time for me to do this for Rick?
When I worked with cops, we were helping the families, so our officers would not be forgotten. I knew that I did not want to be stuck on just, memorializing. I wanted to do something, and that's when I attended a lot of the memorials in DC and in Austin, and I noticed that there were injured officers in wheelchairs. There were injured officers that I spoke with that said, we don't have, there's not anything in Texas, for example, that supports strictly injured officers. So that kind of started me thinking about that. And sure enough, when I did some research, I noticed that, yeah, we had a CISI officer in Dallas and Houston, but a lot of them just covered their region. So what about the rural areas? Like I said, what about those small departments that might have 3 or 4 on staff? What happened if one of them were injured? Who was going to come help? And we knew that workman's comp, it's so hard for them. A lot of them, of course, cannot return back to their job. And that's what why I tell all the departments, it's so important to keep in touch with our injured officers, to let them know that, make it a point to call them and see how they're doing. They get depressed, they get isolated, and they need that. They need those calls. They need those visits, even if it's just for a brief moment.
Yeah, you make a great point, because last week when we had Crystal Street on, she talked about her dad's injury from being with the posse on the horse, and he had to have major rotator cuff surgery, and it was him, being by himself, not having a lot of people come around, and it spiraled into, the addiction to the painkillers that he was on. And, we often think that in any tragic situation where we have an injured officer and things just go bad, that, wow, I should have picked up the phone, or is there something that we could have done? And so what you guys do, I see it as you offer a lot of stress relief, not only to the injured officer, their families, but you also offer it to the department, because they know that you're there kind of filling in when they're like, oh God, I got hit with the double shift. I can't make it to see, my friend, my partner, the fellow officer. And that's huge.
But, just one thing on that with Maria, when you talk about workman's compensation, you guys not only give the mental support, but you guys also bring in financial aspects and financial support that most people don't realize. In the big departments like New York City or Chicago, or even here in some parts of Dallas, where these bigger departments, if you get injured on a job, you get taken care of through a line of duty medical. A lot of the small departments, and even some of those in rural areas, they have to wait. They have to do their workman's comp, and when workman's comp work runs out, they are left with no paycheck, no money, nobody paying the bills. And Maria has stepped up tremendously with her organization, paying phone bills, car bills, mortgage payments, basic necessities of life, so these officers can sustain through their injuries.
Yeah, take us through that, exactly what you guys do.
Initially, we get an application, and we know that officers, that 4-letter word help is just not in their vocabulary. And that's why we have field support reps out there, since we cover all 254 counties. One of the things that I don't like hearing is about an officer that was injured that we did not know about. And I might add, we also have a chaplain that we get calls for that as well, and she's always ready to support. A lot of the applications we get, we of course our board reviews and makes sure the criteria is there. It's a critical injury, and we send that check. But we also we sit at the hospitals with some of the spouses that the officers are having surgery. We're there with them. The emotional aspect, like John was saying, we don't just write a check and say, you know, we're finished. We also have a Christmas program. We know that some of these officers have 3 and 4 children, and the feedback we get back is, you know, we did not know what we were going to do at Christmas time, but then here comes another check from POAF, and it got us through Christmas. So the stories that we hear, especially those that are not able to go back to work, and that was their calling, or it chose them, they just get so out of touch. And, you know, it's so important that, you know, we check on them, that we let them know that, you know, their lives mattered to us, and they still do and always shall be.
Wow, that is you know, something we don't think about. You have that critical injury, you're taken to the hospital, somebody comes, they get your family, they bring them to the hospital, and then it's all a waiting game. Nobody really knows what's going on. And again, to have you all come in there, and you said you had, I think I got this right, 200, you have field support representatives that cover all 254 counties in Texas.
Yes, we do.
So does somebody in the department contact you all? How is it that you're like, okay, this officer's injured, we need to go to the hospital?
We get a report from our field support reps from the department. They're usually with either victim assistance or the community, you know, family services when an officer's injured. So we hear from them, and then we, you know, send them the information. They fill out the application, and then whoever's around. A lot of times, if it's around North Texas, I'm there. At hospitals, a lot of these officers, you have to understand, they go through 7, 10, sometimes even 15 surgeries. We had one officer in San Antonio that went to almost 30 surgeries. So it's very, very difficult for them. I remember going to Dallas Hospital when one of our officers was having his leg amputated, and the spouse was there, and she turned and looked at me when I walked in and was surprised. And I said, I want to sit with you. You know, she was there by herself. And because the moment that you're there, that they know that someone cares, you don't have to know them personally. It's just the fact that someone cares and recognizes the fact that they were injured, and it's not like something pushed, you know, away, and then you forget, other people forget and go on with their normal life. They have to go through all this journey, and it's important that they know that everyone cares about them.
You're making me, Maria, you're making me cry. I know it, but you know, I'm getting such a warm, you got such a servant's heart. God bless you for the things that you do and step up for our law enforcement. That, you know what? I mean, this should be this should be something that's done every day by everybody. And, you know, you bring something to these families and these officers that no one else brings. And thank God for Texas, because POA is only here in Texas, correct?
That's correct.
You know, there is no other state in a nation that provides these types of services. I mean, as much as Maria does for our law enforcement across the nation. That's 900,000 sworn officers that are not, you know, being taken care of, and she's taking care of 254 counties here in the state of Texas.
Yeah, what is your staff? You know, how many people do you have on staff?
Well, we have 5 board members, and we do not have any paid employees whatsoever. Everything is voluntary. So all the work that we do, it's all voluntary. We do not have any staff. And John, on what you were saying, one of the things that I tell everyone is, you know, we need to look behind the badge. Those men and women that are serving and protecting, who are they? They're our neighbors. They're our friends. Some of them, they're our families. And all they're doing is raising their families. And they're side by side with us in our communities. And that's why we need to help them. You know, a lot of times people it doesn't register that, you know, it might be their neighbor. You know, it might be a friend that is injured, that needs help.
Yeah, and sometimes we overlook that. You know, for the longest time, a lot of the public has taken the police department for granted. They figure that they are robots because they've been displayed as robots, just working people without a heart. You know, we forget, and we got to remind them every day that these men and women that go out there every day and protect us and protect our communities and protect our families, all right, they are human beings. They are warm-hearted people who have families, who care and love and mow the lawn and rake the leaves. They're just like anybody else. And sometimes, you know, we don't look, a lot of the civilian life does not look at them. They look beyond, they just look at the uniform and not what's beyond the uniform. So I'm glad you brought that up, Maria. That's a wonderful point. And we have to all start looking at our officers like that.
Yeah, that's a quotable moment. I actually just put that in the comments.
Yeah, that's amazing.
For sure. Yeah, we're getting all kinds of comments. Whoops. Somebody's sending a comment to somebody else. Anyway, that's weird. I didn't know you could do that on our stream. One of the things that has I've been talking about with a couple of different groups lately is, you know, we have you mentioned Assist the Officer, you guys, there are other organizations that come to the aid of injured officers and where you're there for their families. We gotta talk about what nobody likes to talk about, and it's when we have an officer who takes their own life. And in this situation, what's left behind is a family. Sometimes the department is just scratching their head like they don't understand. And sometimes, most of the time, because of the current policy that's in place across the U.S., is if a police officer takes their life, whether they're in uniform, whether they're on duty, off duty, it is not considered a line of duty death. And therefore, the benefits that the family would get had it had been a line of duty death, all of a sudden gone. So the family's left out in the cold. They have no resources. And in the worst cases, they have a department that completely turns their back on them. Doesn't matter whether the officer was on 5 years or 45 years. They turn their back. How do you all, as a foundation, address that?
Well, hearing you talk about that reminded me of a couple of conversations that I've had with injured officers. And one of them was an officer saying, I should have died instead of being injured. My family would have been taken care of. Here I am, an invalid, and I can't do this or I can't do that. And we had a get together before our first responders appreciation with the Rangers, and we had a lot of our injured officers that came. They did not want to go to the game once they met each other because they said, Maria, I don't want to go to the game. I want to sit here and talk because I actually can talk to someone that was shot in the face like I was. And that bond coming together, I realized we need to have a retreats when I was with cops, there was retreats for the siblings. There was retreats for the parents. With injured officers, we need to bring them together so they can. We might not understand it, but they get it. They understand. They need that, and that would help from the suicide. With me, I'm thinking if we had them together to be able to talk about their injuries, to hear about someone that suffered the same thing that they did, then maybe they could find some hope, and it would not lead to that suicide, that isolation that they get, that depression.
You know, and Sam, you brought up a point where, you know, when you know, mental health throughout our law enforcement I consider as a line of duty injury. You know, when they lose the benefits of the department, right? Private insurance as well. Most private insurance do not cover a suicide or consider that a line of duty death or an accidental death. They consider that as you know, most insurances don't cover suicides. So that leaves the family really with nothing, not even enough money to sometimes even bury their loved one. And until we change these laws, and until we change the narrative of mental health, we're going to continue to see this. And more officers, and like Maria, me and you have already, and Sam, I know we've talked to one of the chiefs down in San Antonio who's been having a hard time through his injury. And, you know, there's thousands of them out there that battle at. So those retreats that you're talking about, those conversations need to be had. And the departments are not sending out those peer support teams to help out those injured officers. Those peer support teams are being underutilized. That's correct.
That's so true.
And is that where, Maria, you mentioned you had a chaplain on staff? Is that really, you know, where the chaplain can fill in a lot of the times?
Yes, we had. I had a chief give me a call just a couple of months ago. Had an officer that was I know from the conversation he had was suicidal, and they needed to put him in some kind of hospital to get some help. And I was very proud of our chaplain. She dropped everything and was able to call that chief back, give all the information they needed, and that officer got the help he needed. So, and that's another thing. You've got to be available. You've got to have those individuals that that are willing to, regardless of what time of day or night, regardless, you know, they put that first, because they know, and our chaplains that way, how critical it is to get that help right away for that officer.
How many chaplains do you have, Maria?
Well, our main chaplain is Julie Meeks with Hearst Police Department. We also have Esteban Blanco, and what she is doing is we're endorsed with ICPC, the International Chaplains of Police. And so what she's doing right now is getting a database together, because we know that our chaplains can, anytime an accident happens, we can't say, I'm Barreda-Alvarado, I'm going in to see the family, but our chaplains can get right there with the families and can provide the information without us being there. So it's just so crucial to have these chaplains. And the good thing about that is to have a database where if we can't be in Laredo, we can't be in Corpus Christi, we can't be in San Antonio, these chaplains can go in there and provide some hope and some information about our organization to those families, that officer.
Wow.
Now I'm sure you're not getting any pushback, because, you know, when me and Sam talk about peer support and mental health programs throughout the police departments across the nation, there are some that give a little pushback. There are some that, you know, because they still fall into that stigma. Have you found any pushback through any department, not jumping on board on the Police Officers Angel Foundation or supplying a chaplain for those communities?
Actually, no. Everyone has been very, very receptive of our organization, and like Sam was saying earlier, you know, it helps that department, you know, if someone else is doing it. Right. So, you know, they're very grateful for that. They really are, and it's something that we appreciate as well. We know that they like to see us coming. They like us when we're there, and they know we're going to stay there.
Well, it's the I'll say the utmost expression of trust to know that I can only imagine, since I've never been a chief of police, but to be able to say, Maria's here or your chaplain's here, we're good. You know, everybody, you need to talk. These guys are here, and that's it. You guys are angels. Is like, it's the most fitting term for your organization, because you truly do just come in as angels. You lift everybody, but you provide that important safety net so that if somebody is having a moment of, you know, vulnerability, it's like, it's okay. We're here. We got this.
You know, and now I want to just elaborate on that a little bit more. And that's where with Sam, with Badge of Honor, you know, we hope to aspire one day, Maria, to be able to have that same conversation with most departments on the mental health aspect as you're having on the injury aspect. Because, you know, the stigma, it's a fine line right there between injuries and mental health. And, you know, once we can get that conversation, I hope to save a lot more officers. But with that being said, let's talk about your upcoming event, which is Law Enforcement Appreciation Day.
Yes, it's first responders now. Okay. It was changed this year with the Rangers, and so it's first responders appreciation, and POAF gets $3 off each ticket that is sold. The cutoff is April the 8th, so we have only about 8 or 9 days left to purchase tickets. The caps are really nice.
Wow.
We've got dispatcher's cap which with the yellow stripe, and then we've got the fireman's hat with the red. I don't know if I'm doing it. There we go. There we go. And then of course we have the law enforcement cap that with the they're really nice. They're really nice, and like I said, it's a time when our law enforcement, our first responders, all of them get to see, you know, the community come together to appreciate, to give them thanks, you know, by, you know, everyone together, one voice, thousands to say, hey, you know, we appreciate you. And, you know, that's the best gift you can give them, you know, when during these, and we will have 3 first responders this year. Last year, of course, everything was canceled, and like I told everyone, you know, all the fundraisers were gone. But the pandemic here, it didn't stop us from doing what we do. We still had injured officers. That's not going to go away. Neither are we. But we still had to assist these officers, and with everything going on. Our other fundraiser that we're going to be having will be our Dining for Heroes. We've got some great programs. I've got to talk about this one because it gives me a lot of joy, and that's little children. There's nothing like seeing the kiddos drop pennies in a jug and feel so special because they are contributing to an injured officer. They might not know where they are, but they know that their pennies, their coins are going to go for these officers. So we have that program. It's open to any school in Texas. And we always ask anyone, if you want to be able to have this program in your school, just let us know, and we'll fix you up on that.
What's the name of the program?
It's called Coins for Cops, and our kids are there you go. As you can see, we've got some in here. We actually have them at all of our fundraisers, and the children just love going in there and putting their pennies in. We had one elementary school out there by Denton that raised $963 for us. An elementary school. All those kiddos, they had the coin, the water jug in their cafeteria in the hall, and they just loved being able to participate and saying they helped.
Every penny counts. Every penny counts.
Well, that's our motto. No donation is too small to make a big difference. And it's true. It's true. Our other Dining for Heroes, as you all know, that's another great fundraiser for us, because we know that our officers serve the community every day, but this is another way of serving, because they get to serve the community that comes in the restaurant, put on an apron, they pour drinks, and the community loves it. It's really nice.
You just had it at our house, right? You just had it at our house. I missed that event, and I did I see Sheriff Wayburn with an apron on?
Oh yes, and also Sheriff Adam King with Johnson County was there. Yep. We had officers from all departments come and put an apron on and help serve, and we raised our goal, and we have another one coming up. Maybe you can make that one, John. It's at Cafe Republic. Jimmy Palazzani owns that, and it's in Fort Worth on North Beach, and that'll be May the 14th.
Okay.
May 14th, and then May 29th, Sam,
what time on May 14th?
It's between 8 and 2. We get to, and the restaurant gives us a percentage of what they make between 8 and 2. And then we have back to Shannon Brewery on May 29th. That's a Saturday. We'll be going back there.
Love Shannon Brewery. And I know Steve loved the axe throwing.
Yes.
They're going to be there as well. I talked to Sarah, and
we're there.
Yeah, they're going to be there on May 29th. And we've got our annual golf tournament, October the 4th. That's in Mansfield. And then we're hoping that we can get some sponsorships and have an end of the year banquet for our, I forgot to mention, we also have scholarships for our injured officers' children. We gave 4 away last year. We're going to be, we've got 5 to give to injured officers' children this year. So we're hoping that this end of the year banquet, we want to be able to thank all of our volunteers, all of our sponsors. We have Officer of the Year, Volunteer of the Year, and I might add that this year we will have the first Rick Barreda Award in memory of my son.
Oh, wow. Very nice. Now, with the Law Enforcement Appreciation Day that's coming up on April 10th, and that's the Rangers versus the Padres, the 6:05 game at Globe Life Field. Okay. People buying tickets to this event, what could they expect? Like, how do they, is it going to be a certain section, or do they just buy a ticket, or how is this going to work, Maria?
Well, since the prices are all, vary, they can just buy their ticket, and at this one, they will get a voucher, and they will go and choose the hat, the cap that they want, which makes it really great, I think. And then in the first responders in August 15th, that we're still on hold there. I've got my fingers crossed that we are able to have one of our injured officers throw the first pitch, and then we always ask a officer to sing the national anthem and to sing God Bless America. A lot of times in the past, we've had our officers, motor officers, go around the track, and everybody, they love it because they don't have that opportunity to do something like that. And we've had officers that have lost a limb, and they feel so special going out there and throwing that first pitch. And that's something that it goes with my favorite scripture, Proverbs 3:27. Do not withhold anything good from anyone when it's in your power to help them. And that's what we do at POAF. We assist our officers, we don't hold back, and we stay with them.
So, Maria, I can't keep up typing. That's what I put in the comments with all the fundraisers. You're, with all your experience, 40 plus years now. I mean, if anybody's listening that has a nonprofit, hello, John, we're listening, right? I mean, yes. This is the kind of stuff that we want to learn from for sure. But where can we go to see like the whole list so that we can start plugging dates into our calendars?
Okay, that was my next thing I was going to talk about. We are, as you know, volunteers for everything. So right now we have Janice Washington that is helping us pro bono. She is redoing our website, and our calendar's going up. We will be able to have everything for everyone to go to POAF.org and go to our website. It's up now, but like I said, we're getting all that information on there. We want to streamline and make it a lot easier for what it's all about, and that's our injured officers. We want to make that the resources there available for them, where they can just go and click and get the information they need. So that's what she's working on. And our Facebook, we have over 4,000 members. Facebook is under Peace Officers Angels Foundation, and then Twitter is POAF.org. So that is where you can get a lot of the information. Our media specialist Giovanni Cook keeps us the events going. She's posting the events for our like I said, the Dining for Heroes and Christmas Angels program, and Coins for Cops. So right now what we need is, besides, volunteers, we need some folks to come and be able to help us share some of their best practices with us, where we can know more about grants, where we can know more about how to get these sponsorships, how to do some of this. We know everybody has something to learn, and also those that do know that can share with us.
That seems like a lot of you bring up the grants, and a lot of non-for-profits, especially in the law enforcement and first responder field, they are limited on the money is out there, but they just don't know how to grab it. And it ends up going somewhere else. And I noticed a lot of nonprofit organizations not being able to get the money to support their foundation because of the grant writing aspects and how hard it is. Sam, you feel the same way?
Absolutely. And just real quick, we're getting a message from PJ. Do we have to we're going back to April 10th. Do we have to purchase through a special website for you guys to get the funds?
Yes, they can either call Zach Ganter, and it's on the flyer on our Facebook page, and it's on the flyer in our website, and I've posted it on mine as well. There's a link that they can click on, and they can buy their tickets online, and then everything's mailed. Their vouchers mailed to them, and it's not like a link. It's a
so we can go to POAF.org, and you have the information, because I want people to understand, if you just go on the Texas Rangers site and you get
no.
POAF will not get the money from the tickets. We have to make sure that we go through the correct channels so that we're doing the most good for our first responders out there. So go to POAF.org, follow along in the directions on how to purchase the tickets. Now, you said we have until the 8th to purchase those tickets, but then you said they'll mail a voucher. How does that work?
Zach Ganter is the individual that works with us with our tickets, and his number and everything is on that flyer that we have up already on our website and our Facebook page. So, and also, can I send it to your?
Yes. Yep.
We can post it. Yeah.
Okay. We'll put it out. But I think you're talking about when they're going to mail a voucher, they're going to email a voucher. So.
Right. Oh no, not by U.S. mail.
Right. Okay. It's going to be an email voucher that you can print out and take for the hat.
Got it.
Right. Exactly.
The game would be long gone before we got the mail.
That's pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, Maria, send me the link. Send me that stuff, and I will be more than happy to post that on the Mad Radio page. I know I'll post it on my page, my own personal page as well. And share those, and we're gonna hope to have a successful day. We're gonna be out there with you, supporting you and doing whatever we can for you. And I got the day off, so I'm there. So
wonderful.
And that's Sam I think Sam's gonna be there if school activities don't.
Well, no, it's a 6:05 game, so school's in the morning.
Okay. Now, one thing I know a lot of people have been asking about, because Texas has opened up 100%, and does that include the stadium? Are they going to be requiring masks? Are they going to be requiring certain aspects for COVID? Do you know any of that?
I know that they're open for 100%. Because that's what they were waiting for before they could give us that information. And unfortunately, we didn't get it in plenty of time. So we haven't really had a chance to sell the opportunity to sell those tickets. That's why we really want to push them now these last few days. But they are open 100%. I don't believe masks are required. Phil, do you know that?
I think we'll find out when we get there, right?
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, it's
I guess we have to be guided by whatever the Texas Rangers Globe Life Field recommends.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, we'll do that. Maria, we can't thank you enough again, we know you're so busy, for coming on tonight, for being with us. Always end the show with, if you have one last message that you'd like to send out to all of our first responders out there, what would you like to say?
I just want to tell everyone, we all have room in our hearts to help. Everyone. As far as donors, we don't try to convince donors. We help them realize that they already care. And for our officers that are out there, we want them to know that they are loved and prayed for, and we support them 100%.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you. Yeah. You can tell the passion is in your heart, Maria. You are, God, I could feel the warmth from here. I really can.
I can talk about POAF. I could talk about POAF for 5 hours if you let me.
Well, we look forward to seeing you. Even though the stadium's big, we'll see you on the 10th. And again, we just can't thank you enough. You do so many great things, and we'll be sure to get out a whole list of the fundraisers and point people to your page for sure.
One of the things that I do want to say, Sam, is all of this. We can't do it alone. We need the help of the community. We need those partnerships with everyone to come and stand with our officers, our men and women that put on that uniform, that walk out and take that risk and don't know if they're going to be returning home that day. We want them to know that we are thinking of them, praying for them, and supporting them, and we stand with them.
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And thank you, Phil, for giving us the time with Maria.
Yes, thank you, Phil. Really appreciate it. Okay, Maria, we will catch up with you just in the next few minutes here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Wow, what another jam-packed show. My fingers don't type that fast, but we'll make sure that everybody gets the information. Like I said, this organization, I'm like a baby when it comes to POAF. John, you have had the relationship with Maria for so long, and it is so heartwarming in the climate that we are in, because you can get out of bed every single day and you have a choice. You can either say, well, I'm getting up and this day is going to suck, or I'm getting up and I'm going to make a difference today.
Right.
And in your heart, when I always say, listen to your truth, because most of the time it's telling you to make that difference. And no matter what is going on around you in your world, whether you are a first responder having to report every single day, or you're retired, or you're like me and John. What do we do now every single? No, I'm kidding. Like we do work, like regular person work, I guess.
Yeah.
But with a passion for healing our first responders. It really is. We allow that voice of truth and honor and bravery and courage and care and compassion to lead us every day in what we do. And no act, no matter how small, it all makes a difference. And as we say every week, you are not alone in this journey at all. We love and care about all of you out there, all the first responders, and we're here from you. We're here for you. And just like Maria said, it takes a village. We can't do this on our own. And if you are watching this on Facebook, either a Badge of Honor's Facebook page or Mad Radio's Facebook page, do us a huge favor. Jump on over to YouTube. You can type in the search, Mad Radio Texas. Follow us there, because when we get to a magic number, we get to do so much more with YouTube. So there's a method behind the madness. And if you're watching us on YouTube, jump on over to our Facebook page, which is at Making a Difference TX, or a Badge of Honor, and follow us there so you'll be notified of all upcoming shows. Speaking of upcoming, April 29th, abadgeofhonor.com. You, me, Jeff, John, we are grateful to our partners with the Garland, Texas Police Department. We are putting on another post-traumatic stress and suicide awareness workshop. And we do mean workshop because it takes work. It takes a lot of courage, and we give you the whole package. You walk out of there with tried and true tactics, actual scientifically proven skills. So when you're feeling stress, or maybe you've received that clinical diagnosis of post-traumatic stress and you're on the job, because you can work and have that, you can minimize your stress levels at every moment. So again, go to abadgeofhonor.com. The registration for the workshop is on our homepage. And we also have at the top of the page a donate, because a Badge of Honor is a domestic nonprofit corporation in the state of Texas. So if you're in Texas, if you live in Texas, you're a Texas resident, you can go on and donate. And every penny counts, and everything goes into putting on these workshops for our first responders in the communities around Texas. And if you're in a department, you're watching this and you want a Badge of Honor to come to you, we can do that too. you can contact us through the website. John, take us home.
Well, I just want to, you brought up Garland Police Department with being our sponsor for our Badge of Honor workshops. I want to congratulate Tank and all the members of the SWAT team from Garland Police Department for their award of Iron First Responders through the Third Watch Law Enforcement Motorcycle Club. You guys do a bang-up job. No pun intended.
No pun intended.
You guys really, the SWAT team over in Garland, God bless. Stay safe, and congratulations on your award, Tank. Once again, Sam, great show. Thank you, Maria. And you are not alone. And remember, today is not the day to give up. God bless, and see you on April 10th at Law Enforcement Appreciation Day, Globe Life Field. Get your tickets today.
Take care, everybody.
Right. Take care.